light-skinned male approached her and asked to pet her dog. She allowed the male to pet her dog, and as she was about to enter her residence, the male grabbed her from behind and basically assaulted her by grabbing her. When she turned around, she noticed that the male's sexual organs were exposed. When she screamed for help, the male left the residence, left the scene. We immediately dispatched our detectives to the scene. The detectives began interviewing any potential witnesses, spoke with the victim, began retrieving videotape evidence from different homes, recordings, in order to corroborate her statement and gained any suspect information. Subsequently, the suspect was identified as Isaiah Singleton, date of birth 12/27/2000. This information was mainly obtained by the fact that the male's DNA was found on the female's clothing. We immediately made contact with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department. They did the DNA analysis and confirmed that the suspect that we suspected was the actual suspect that committed the crime. Subsequently, the subject, Isaiah Singleton, was arrested and sent to the Palm Beach County Jail for charges of felony indecent exposure. And that's where we stand at this point. Any questions or comments from anyone else?
Singleton has quite the past. Is that correct? What have you guys learned from that? I mean, we've heard of at least 2 other cases, one that he was convicted in, or maybe both that he was convicted in, involving a victim in Georgia and then also a college campus in South Carolina.
That's correct. So Singleton has a bit of a past. He was convicted of a misdemeanor assault in Georgia, and he also spent 2.5 years in corrections in South Carolina for a similar incident.
Is he currently on probation from that case in Georgia?
I'm not aware of his probationary status in Georgia.
Okay. And is there any reason why the battery charge is not a sexual battery charge?
Yes, there are specific pieces of evidence that we have to have for a sexual crime. This does not fit the Florida state statute for a sexual crime for sexual battery.
Can you speak to, I mean, from past convictions, some would call him a repeat offender at this point. Can you speak to the fact that it appears that the victim and him didn't know each other whatsoever, and he still is accused of doing this? I mean, the randomness of this, that's a fear for a lot of women.
Right. That's correct. He is a repeat offender, and due to that allowed us to charge him with a felony. Outside of if we didn't have the previous conviction in the state of South Carolina, all we would have is a misdemeanor for this case due to the Florida state statute.
Can you also speak to the amount of work that went into tracking him down?
Took quite a bit, several days of obtaining evidence from different homes, from residents, speaking to potential witnesses, attempting to identify him. It took a couple of days for the DNA to come back from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. However, I would like to thank the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office for expediting and rushing this DNA, which allowed us to apprehend the subject as quickly as possible.
And why might you have had them rush it? Is it because of that you guys felt like he could offend again, that you really wanted to have that DNA?
That's correct. Anytime there's a case like this, where there be a sexual assault or something even more serious, we do the best we can to rush all the evidence and find the suspect as quickly as possible and get him off the streets.
From the Georgia incident, from court records, it looks as though he was living in some sort of halfway house. Was that the case here? Does he have a permanent address here in Palm Beach County?
I'm not aware of a permanent address, and I can't speak to a halfway house residence.
And any other reasons to believe that he could be connected to any other assault cases in our area?
We don't have any information about any other assault cases. There are some other cases that don't have any suspect information that we're doing the best we can to investigate, but we don't have any evidence that points them towards any other assaults in our area.
Did he confess?
I don't have that information.
I guess I'll just ask one more thing, is can you speak to the Riviera Beach Police Department's commitment to, obviously, you know, protecting all, but also women while they're just walking their dogs on the street?
It's absolutely. I mean, it's a age-old statement, and we're here to protect and serve, so we do the best we can in all cases. This case was particularly concerning for us because it is a sexual assault type case. So we did the best we could to investigate and get the subject off the street as quickly as possible. We pulled out all the stops with our investigators, the whole investigative team, as well as our crime scene unit. And as I spoke of before, the Palm Beach County Sheriff Department working with us as quickly as possible to expedite the evidence and rush it and help us to get to this conclusion.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, we'll have City Manager and Councilman Spears.
Good afternoon, and certainly it's a good day for the city of Riviera Beach where we're able to apprehend the suspect associated with these particular crimes. And one thing that the city of Riviera Beach will do is we will deploy every resource to make sure that the quality of life that's uniformly enjoyed in our community is preserved. And so the law enforcement agency here in the city of Riviera Beach, working with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department, brought in additional resources, expedited the review of the DNA in order to apprehend this particular suspect. And as it was communicated earlier, that's a routine activity that everyone in our community somehow, some way recreates, whether it's biking, walking their dog. And we want to make sure that people know that our streets are safe. And if there is an incident that happens, that the city of Riviera Beach will come to your aid, and we'll make sure that we will apprehend suspects, whether they're in our community, from outside communities, to make sure that we protect our community. And I can tell you that the community was very concerned when this particular items came out, and ultimately we made sure that we did what is necessary to resolve this particular issue. So we're not being dismissive of this particular issue. We're going to make sure that resources are provided, and this is just one step in the process to make sure that justice is served, and then that victim can make sure that when they do go out and walk their dog on a routine activity, that they are in a safe community, and we will continue to protect the safety of our residents. And so Riviera Beach is a safe community. It's a good place to live. It's a good place to recreate. And we have the finest law enforcement agency here in Palm Beach County that will do everything, working with our partners at the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department, to resolve any issues and make sure that people are brought to justice. Also, I want to make it a point to have our councilperson Glenn Spiritus, that is actually the district representative in that particular district, and he was actively involved in this particular situation, from being involved, hearing the calls and the issues and the concerns from the residents, but ultimately helping us to make sure that people knew that we were on top of this particular situation and working towards a resolution. So this particular incident occurred in his district on Singer Island, and so we would like an opportunity for the district representative to share some comments. Councilperson?
Thank you, City Manager Jonathan Evans. Under Jonathan Evans' direction and Chief Coleman, they did a wonderful job. This crime was, we believe, solved in a relatively short period of time. It was taken very seriously from the instant that it happened. It was not buried on someone's desk. The detective division went out of their way to spend hours and hours and hours, days and nights on this case, and it came to what we believe is a very satisfactory end. Hopefully this is the end of this case. I want to make it very clear that this is an isolated incident on Singer Island. Singer Island is a very safe place to walk your dog, ride your bike, jog on our jogging trails, go to the beach. We have thousands and thousands of people visiting Singer Island on a regular basis and living on Singer Island, and this is very, very isolated. Very rarely do we have any crime there. But if there is a crime, I can assure you that our police department is going to take care of it. So let this be a lesson, please, to anyone who's thinking of coming to Singer Island or Riviera Beach as the city as a whole. We will go after you if you commit a crime here, and we will make sure that that it is a safe place to live, work, and play. And that's what we're known for, and we will continue to do that. And we have one of the best police departments in the state of Florida, and my hat is off to the entire department for as I said, solving this case in a very short period of time. These cases usually go on for years and years before they find a suspect. We were able to do this in a really, really short period of time, and we will do this in all crimes that happen in the city of Riviera Beach, and I can assure you that we have the team that can do it. So please keep coming to Singer Island and Riviera Beach. We are a safe place, and I can assure the community that that this probably will never happen again. And if it does, that we will be there, of course, to take care of the incident and solve the problem. So please let this be a warning to anyone who thinks they're coming to Riviera Beach to cause crime and then go home, because you will not be going home. You will be going to jail. So that's all I have to say. Once again, thank you to the entire City of Riviera Beach Police Department for doing what they usually do. A good job. Thank you.
Quick question for
Yes.
you, if it's okay. When we talked with the victim, she had just said how she had taken her story through social media in a neighborhood group chat of Singer Island and received so much support from the community on this. Can you just speak to the overall community aspect of Singer Island?
Yes, yeah, I could tell you that obviously this was very concerning to everyone on the island, including myself, my wife. You know, we use that walkway. We walk in that neighborhood. We ride our bikes in that neighborhood. So clearly it was concerning to everyone that lives on Singer Island. I saw the story on social media. She received thousands of hits. I mean, not just in Riviera Beach, but all over the county. And it was very serious, a very serious incident, and we took it very serious. Before it was on social media, it was being taken very serious. As soon as it was reported, I can assure you that the city manager, the police chief, and his team were on top of this, and we were working very, very hard. Clearly, we couldn't say everything that we were doing on social media, but we were working very hard, and we were following the stories. It's good that people talk about it and speak about it. That's very important that people share, and that's how we can solve crimes, obviously, when people do share their stories.
But you're also, I guess, proud of the community for the way that they showed up for the victim in this.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they all showed up. They all spoke about this. They made it. They moved it from the bottom to the top of the list. By speaking out like that, it did receive the attention, more attention maybe from the police department and myself. But I can tell you that we were on this. As soon as she reported this crime, we weren't waiting for social media. As soon as this happened, we were right on it, and the police department was doing their investigation, and they were working very, very hard. We could not obviously go on social media and say what was happening. But yes, it was good that they were talking about it. You know, this guy was still on the street. You know, so we wanted people to talk about it and be cautious where they were walking and what they were doing, which was good. But now we have this resolved.
City manager, do you mind if I ask you one more question?
Sure.
Thank you.
I again just wanted to ask a follow-up to when we interviewed the victim. She had said how great the Riviera Beach Police Department had been with her. I mean, I think she even mentioned that officers went out and helped install cameras on their home. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you, being the manager of the city here? Are you proud of your police force?
Absolutely, and that's what's important about what you mentioned about a community. We don't look at, you know, what a normal job description and responsibilities. We're going to do what the public needs us to do to meet the moment. And we don't operate in that particular space. And so when this particular item hit traction on social media, one thing that's important is it put the community on high alert, and we were more visible of what was happening in our community. And especially when you're talking about a crime that's a sexual crime and sexual battery in nature, we want to make sure that we're not dismissive as an organization, because we all understand that this is something that we can only imagine what that particular victim, what was going through their mind at that particular time. And so Chief Coleman and the problem-oriented policing unit, they are very intentional about our interactions. They make sure that we go beyond what the expectation is. And that's one thing, is that our officers take an oath to serve and protect the community, but it doesn't say just law enforcement related stuff. Them installing cameras and being involved with that particular residence shows that they genuinely cared about their well-being after that particular interaction. And so to know that there's a genuine relationship with law enforcement, that's the type of model that we adopted here in Riviera Beach, and it should be the model across the board. And so I'm elated that law enforcement did that, and we have departments throughout the city that make sure that they go beyond what the expectations are. But we're here to serve. That particular individual is someone's spouse, daughter, aunt, sister, and we in any community could be a moment away from being in that same particular situation. So we need to be compassionate and empathetic to those situations and look to provide some type of peace of mind, and to know that yes, we've apprehended the suspect and the criminal justice system has to do what it does on that side, but hopefully that particular individual can start going through the healing process and can know that the Riviera Beach law enforcement is not just behind you, but it's in front of you, and it's at both sides of you, through and through, and that's for every individual that calls Riviera Beach home or works in our community.
I was going to ask you that as a follow-up to in a case in Georgia where the suspect in this case was convicted for a very similar crime against the victim there. In that case, she felt as though the system failed her because he was let out with only a probation and whatnot. And she had said when we talked that she's really hoping officials here will advocate for this victim and make sure justice is served. Is that something that you think that the police force will be there to do?
Absolutely, absolutely. We should be and we will be sitting in that courtroom, and we will work with the state attorney's office to make sure that all charges are levied to the fullest extent of the law. This type of behavior shouldn't be perpetuated in any community. And so we in the law enforcement and the public service business shouldn't be dismissive, because again, had a community taken this particular situation seriously in Georgia, we wouldn't be having the conversation in Riviera Beach. And so it ends here in Riviera Beach. And we're just asking for our partners at the state attorney's office to help make sure that this guy gets a clear and distinct message that if he ever sees the light of day, he understands that that behavior won't be perpetuated here in Riviera Beach or anywhere in Palm Beach County and anywhere in the nation for that matter.